There's not as much hemlock in North County, but what we do have is actually extremely healthy because we haven't had the incursion of another insect pest called the Hemlock woolly adelgid. It's a tiny little insect that attaches to the base of each needle, and it covers itself in a little white cottony fuzz that helps it avoid predators and helps it overwinter. And what happens is it sucks some juice out of the needle, and the needle becomes compromised, and the tree prematurely sheds it. And this hemlock will save, it holds onto its needles for 5 or 6 years. So some of these needles are 5 or 6 years old, and if it's shedding needles after 2 or 3 years, then it's losing some photosynthetic capacity, and the whole tree starts to decline and eventually die. And if you go to South County or the Connecticut Valley or the Hudson Valley even, you'll see a lot of sick-looking thin hemlocks or dead hemlock, stands of dead hemlock. And this is happening all the way down the Appalachian chain, where somehow in the Hoosick Basin we didn't or haven't yet gotten Hemlock woolly adelgid. So our hemlocks, they still have what I consider a nice color. A fairly nice deep green, lots of a deep crown, so lots of foliage all the way up. You can't really see the top of the tree through the foliage. And that's a blessing for now. It might be on its way. It's sort of cold limited, so really cold 20 below, 15 below temperatures in winter tend to knock it back and keep it at bay. But there is another pest that's affecting hemlock, and when they both occur together, you end up getting really rapid mortality. And I am seeing some signs of that pest today. It's called elongate hemlock scale. It's another tiny insect that attaches to the underside of the leaf, not at the base necessarily, and it makes this little hard cuticle over itself. That's the scale part of it. It protects the tiny little insect underneath, and it does the same thing. It sucks juice out of the needle, and eventually the needle is compromised and the tree prematurely sheds it. And when those two pests co-occur, they tend to knock each other or really stress the tree out, and especially the older trees. They've spent 100 years with all of these needles, and all of a sudden they have 30 or 40% fewer needles. They can't sustain that. The younger trees are a little more resilient, but there's drastic changes in some of the forests in the Connecticut Valley, even in South County right now, because of those two pests that we've so far been spared any severe effects up here in the Hoosick Basin.